Naruto's fourth great ninja war was filled with some of the most memorable moments and iconic battles in the series. Madara versus the Shinobi Alliance, Naruto meeting Kushina for the first time, and Kakashi versus Obito, to name a few of those moments that live forever rent-free inside the minds and hearts of Naruto fans everywhere. That arc was the arc where legends of the past, they clashed against the new generation who were looking to carve out their own legendary stories, but in the time after the war ended, there were scars left behind on some of the shinobi who fought during the war that were still there despite any physical wounds that they suffered having long since healed. One of these shinobi was actually Kakashi Hatake, the 6th Hokage of Konoha. In today's edition of After Naruto Shippuden, we're going to be looking at Kakashi's biggest fear after the 4th Ninja War ended and how it impacted his decision making during the first year after the 4th Ninja War had occurred. The information comes to us from the Naruto epilogue story, Kakashi Hiden, Lightning in the Frozen Sky. Essentially, to the outside world, Kakashi was a man who was more than fit to be the Hokage of Konoha, Sharingan or no Sharingan. He carved out his legend as a child during the 3rd Ninja War. He battled numerous Akatsuki members before the war took place, and he was the sensei to the 3 strongest shinobi alive during that era. Kakashi made the most sense to everyone to be the Hokage. The only problem is that Kakashi himself still had doubts even a year after the 4th Ninja War that he could effectively serve as Hokage and still protect the village as Hokage. For Kakashi, having spent most of his life with the Sharingan Eye, it was a huge part of his identity. Before he got the Sharingan, his jutsu, the Chidori, was deemed to be too unsafe to use according to Minato because of the many vulnerabilities that jutsu presented to the user, mainly the tunnel vision that it caused the user, but once he got Obito's Sharingan, that allowed him to overcome said tunnel vision and react to counterattacks by his enemy, thus making it safe to use. Otherwise, he couldn't use the jutsu safely. Over time, Kakashi's Chidori evolved into a stronger variation called the raikiri. However, after losing Obito's Sharingan, after Obito's chakra went back to the afterlife, which took away both of the Sharingan that Kakashi's body had in that process, it left Kakashi feeling like he lost a key part of himself and like he'd never be the same ever again. Chidori and the raikiri, they're no longer safe for him to use due to the fact that he didn't have the Sharingan. For the longest time, he carved out his whole fighting style utilizing the Sharingan form, with even Itachi and Madara praising him with the skill in the Sharingan at various points in the story. The Eye of Hypnotism for advanced genjutsu, the Eye of Insight to read movements and chakra natures, predict hand seals, see chakra as a color, and advanced ocular perception. It gave him advantages in battle that he could no longer use if push came to shove and he was forced to fight again. This reality led to what can be compared to a depression by Kakashi of sorts. One that Naruto at the time could sense was going on with his master, but he wasn't smart enough to understand why Kakashi behaved in the way that he did. However, both Tsunade, the woman who named him Hokage, and Might Guy, Kakashi's longtime rival and friend, both saw the changes occurring inside of Kakashi during this time. Tsunade, for a time, tried to convince Kakashi that he was both wise enough and experienced enough to be the Hokage, but most importantly, that he was powerful enough for that position. Despite what Kakashi had told himself, his power was more than the raikiri or the Sharingan. He was considered a prodigy at the same age that students were in their first years at the academy. He was a jonin before those same students would even take the academy graduation test, and he not only mastered the Rasengan, but he tried to add a lightning change in chakra nature to it before most of the kids his age even got their Ganin headbands, let alone underwent the change in chakra drills in order to learn a change in chakra nature. In the Ninja Escapades OVA, he done more than well enough against Minato in their sparring match, despite Minato having years of experience on him. Long before Kakashi ever got the Sharingan, Kakashi was clearly going places. Might Guy watched Kakashi from the shadows as Kakashi spent the first year after the war training his body to make up for the loss of the Sharingan, and in the process creating the Purple Lightning Jutsu, and Guy, in the most Might Guy way possible, sought to break Kakashi out of his funk by having Rock Lee dress up like a bandit and attack Kakashi during a mission, because Guy, in his mind, thought a little bit of combat to get the blood flowing, it fixed everything. The version of Kakashi that we saw in the Konoha Shinden manga, where he takes out the bandits in a very methodical and calculated fashion, that Kakashi had to be molded and created during the events of the Kakashi Hiden story, where his own self-doubt at not being able to protect the village had to be overcome. In Kakashi's own words, he says, quote, "At the time, I still had the Sharingan Eye, but losing the Sharingan means I lost the the Lightning Blade. Lightning Blade was a jutsu I could complete because I had the dynamic vision of the Sharingan, and I thought with such a jutsu I'd be able to protect Konoha somehow if I ever became Hokage. End quote. What I love about this time period with Kakashi is the fact that he's so in his head here that he can't see what those around him can see. Tsunade sees someone who's fit to be Hokage, Sharingan or no Sharingan, and unbeknownst to him, she had her eye on him to be Hokage as far back as when Jiraiya was leaving to fight pain, because she said if anything happened to her, if she went on that mission with Jiraiya, that the village would be fine because Kakashi was ready to be Hokage at that very moment. Something a few on the Jonin Council believed, and even the feudal lord believed when the time came to vote Kakashi as Hokage before Danzo stepped in last minute. Guy saw how Kakashi lost a part of himself with the Sharingan, and by extension the Raikiri and Chidori, and he saw how that led to Kakashi training to overcome those losses, another mark of a true leader, because he wasn't going to sit there and take pity on himself, but instead he was trying to make the most out of the situation. While it's never directly stated, part of me does wonder if seeing firsthand the power of the previous Hokage in the form of the Edo Tensei Hokage made Kakashi pause a bit in that first year after the 4th Ninja War, because he'd be stepping into a legacy that included the power levels that he saw during that time period. In a way, it makes a lot of sense, seeing the first Hokage use his deity gates to hold the Ten Tails down in place, seeing the second Hokage's flying Raijin catch a truth-seeking orb from Jubi Obito and return it to him in mid-detonation, seeing the third Hokage push back the summoning of Spiral Zetsu by using shadow clones in all 5 changes in chakra nature, seeing the 4th Hokage emerge from death even stronger than he was when he was alive, and hearing that the 5th Hokage not only fought Edo Madara but more than once actually shattered his Susanoo ribcage. Then knowing that the man coming up behind him as the future 7th Hokage, Naruto Uzumaki, he had already saved the world from Kaguya. That would be enough to make anyone considering the Hokage position to be a bit anxious and apprehensive to take up the mantle. However, that year of training by Kakashi was absolutely huge. There were benefits that came from not having the Sharingan that Kakashi hadn't factored in when he did all that self-pitying. If he'd been a video game character, the Sharingan equipped basically was a stamina drain for him whenever he went to use it. He constantly had to set aside chakra for stamina in order to use the Sharingan, and the Mangekyo Sharingan took even more chakra. With the Sharingan equip gone, those extended chakra reserves that we saw with War Kakashi, all that chakra he needed to set aside to use the Sharingan during that time, it went right back into his main chakra pool to be used to boost up other stats like speed and strength and boost up his ninjutsu effectiveness if he ever chose to do so. However, none of that matters when you have the mental nerf that is self-imposed by yourself due to you yourself feeling inadequate. Tsunade and Might Guy understood that if Kakashi was going to become a leader of men, serving as Hokage, he couldn't do so while feeling sorry for himself and unsure if he could actually protect the village or if he had the power to stand shoulder to shoulder with both the Kage from the other village as well as the Hokage who came before him. This period of Kakashi's life after the 4th Ninja War is proof that sometimes even the best of us need a little bit of reassurance. That being said, that's going to be it for this edition of After Naruto Shippuden. Click here to watch these other videos from the Naruto Shippuden playlist.